Julie Rodzinski destroyed the woke Democrats on CNN after Trump won the election.
Had President Biden not announced, to try to get reelected, and we all know how that transpired later on, perhaps this wouldn't be the situation. What do you say to that?
I'm going to speak some hard truths to my friends in the Democratic Party. This is not Joe Biden's fault. It is the fault of the Democratic Party in not knowing how to communicate effectively to voters. We are not the party of common sense, which is the message that voters sent to us. When we address Latino voters as Latinx, for instance, because that's the politically correct thing to do, it makes them think that we don't even live on the same planet as they do. When we are too afraid to say that, hey, college kids, if you're trashing a campus at Columbia University because you're unhappy about some sort of policy and you're taking over a university and you're trashing it and preventing other students from learning, that is unacceptable. But we're so worried about alienating one or another cohort in our coalition that we don't know what to say when normal people look at that and say, wait a second, I send my kids to college so they can learn, not so that they can burn buildings and trash lawns, right? When we put pronouns after names and say she, her, stop with the virtue signaling and just speak to people like they're normal. There's nothing I'm going to say to Michael that I'm not going to say to you, that I'm not going to say to somebody else. I speak the same language to everybody. But that's not what Democrats do. We constantly try to parse out different ways of speaking to different cohorts because our focus groups or our polling shows that so-and-so appeals to such and such. That's not how normal people think. It's not common sense. And we need to start being the party of common sense again. Joe Biden is not responsible for that. It is a problem that Democrats have had for years. I've been banging the drum on this for, I don't know how, probably 10 years, if not longer on this. We need to get back to being the party of common sense, that people look at us and say, we understand you. We appreciate what you say because you speak our language. And until we do that, we should stop blaming other people for our own mistakes.
Just to follow up with you, and sure, Michael, I'm going to get to you. What would you say to those who would argue, well, Joe Biden and then Kamala Harris, they were the messengers. They were the top of the ticket. They were responsible for trying to get to those voters and get through to them with the messaging you're talking about.
When you're spending your time at the White House trying to have viral moments with Steve Doocy of Fox News, which nobody in the real world in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, or in Saginaw County, Michigan, knows or cares about, when you're trying to go viral on TikTok because you're somehow taking on and trying to humiliate an anchor at a cable news station, as opposed to looking into the camera and saying, this is what we have accomplished for you today in plain terms, right? But that's not what they did. They try to have these weird viral moments constantly where they're trying to take on Doocy at Fox and they think it's hilarious. Nobody knows or cares who Doocy is, and the people who do know him are not voting for us anyway. So the point is, there's a way to talk to people on their own terms about things that they care about. That is a messaging problem the White House has had since day one. I've complained about it since day one. I'm complaining about it now. We need to pick ourselves up, look at what went wrong, and change it. The first way to do that is to talk to people like they're normal human beings and make them think that we are the party of common sense, not people who are afraid of alienating somebody so that we don't have positions that are clear, concise, and accurate as to where they are.
She's 100% spot on. The left has lost all common sense. Woke Democrats are blaming racism and misogyny for the outcome of the election. The only issue they ran on was abortion. No mention of the economy or the border, no policies that benefit the middle class. Kamala Harris was in office for 4 years and didn't address any of the issues facing Americans. Instead, they obsessed over race, gender, identity politics, and endlessly attacked Trump and his supporters. Democrats today lack common sense. They are a party of arrogance and entitlement. They want to be the victims while owning every major media company and celebrity in the country. And Americans are tired of it. They gave Trump an easy path to the presidency. It's no surprise that he won by as much as he did. Instead of learning from their mistakes, most of them are going right back to what they've been doing the past 4 years. We'll have to see how that plays out for him.